Okay, so we ended up fingering our mother. For the murder, that is. So... So we're on our way to the tower room, apparently. Are you gonna tell me where that is, mister? Is this it? Yeah, he said there was a room with all the boxes in it.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of?
It's that statue with the Medusa. He had a
the next
sword.
part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
I'm all full of royal jelly.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
What is this disc?
I'm gonna tell you, what was that? Round magnet, the lodestone. So you just have to hit your menu and it'll tell you.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion could be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles.
Little Bible studies for you heathens out there. Another coin for our collection. We're gonna be stacked when we get out of here.
The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Open?
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. We'll see if it works. It's open.
I see that. I'm astute of you.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Don't have the air key yet.
drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
What?
The New Testament.
Okay. Am I supposed to guess which one this is? What?
This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord. This volume dates from the first edition of Gutenberg. It's the first book that was ever printed. The pages are covered in annotations in Latin, French, and Hebrew. Someone spent years studying this Bible.
It's gonna be a long one, isn't it? Wow.
And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in Jordan. It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni.
He's only got his head cut off, eh?
St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible.
Sophistria? What? Oh. Sophistry.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Reni. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently.
He's our boy.
There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? Of the four apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only one who isn't an evangelist. He is the 13th apostle.
Well, that was Judas.
So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean,
Finger
a
11.
connection with the figure, maybe?
Shall consult the tome once more. Number 11.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles. for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait. A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
Said it was Johnny.
The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting.
Duh.
On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add one companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
He doesn't have a
St. John
beard.
is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer. They should add a companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their ranks. I imagine it applies to their code, the one Mother set up with the pilgrims. What's this? A group of pilgrims who Paul was talking to, and now John is telling them prophecies?
1 to the left and 3 to the right. And where do I do that exactly?
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. Amber crystals. A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Anything back out here I missed?
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? Must be the group of pilgrims mentioned from before. I guess maybe the city of Corinth is a reference to the epistle from Corinthians in the Bible.
Any new for me?
There's nothing worth noticing here. No, nothing of value here. Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. a sentence in Hebrew.
Not relevant.
It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all.
Number 8 here.
And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? I'm guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Come in, Morty. I won't miss a meal for the world. I thought I did find the conversation.
It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.
Le petit salon. Napoleon gonna
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis?
I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
It must have been Emma I saw in my vision. I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay.
Considering Emily is still alive, yeah, that was Emma.
If Mother's really killed her sister, I'd better find her by myself. They say they spent a lot of time together. They got along well.
Oh, really? Do you think your mother liked Duchess Hillsborough?
Of course she did. After all, she's your sister. Well, we'll find them, Emily. Trust me. Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
She'll think you're crazy anyway.
I better keep that to myself for the time being.
Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And who is this charming character?
Manuel Godoy, the Duke of La Alcudia.
He's the head of the Spanish government, Monsieur de Richet. He's the one who, in practice, controls Spain.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined.
What?
Oh, no.
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before.
How dare they?
Oh, dear.
Oh, as if it...
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous! Bastard! He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote! Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're
Hello.
all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Kinda.
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Could you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you too. Of course.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
Hear you speak, it sounds like you and my mother were close.
Let's say I hold your mother in high esteem, yes. We were even planning to work together.
That's what he was getting at.
Did she tell you about our arrangement?
Cannons?
The cat's out of the bag now. More or less, but please do refresh my memory.
Yes, of course. Nothing of great importance in itself. During one of our discussions, she spoke of an old book, which might have been of interest to me, and she had agreed to let me have it.
A book about what?
Ancient occultism. As you are aware, I am a doctor of theology. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
The least one can say is that he doesn't beat around the bush. Sarah never travels without a few books. What does the one you're looking for look like exactly?
It resembles a grimoire. It's divided into 7 parts, each one individually locked. It was made in such a way that if someone tried to tamper with it, the sheets would be permanently tarnished. It's a unique copy. There's only one.
The mere mention of it makes his face light up. Well, I'll take a closer look, but I can't promise you anything. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
Oh,
Indeed. One of your close friends?
No, not really, but we were close once. Precisely over the case that concerns us now, because he claimed to have the book I'm looking for.
Another dishonest person. What can you say? Can't trust anyone these days, huh?
No, you can't.
I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Volner, and that you succeed in finding what you're looking for.
Oh, and so do I.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for, instead of keeping up this pretense?
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Volner. You're the one who von Burchard was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif have bitterly regretted it, Monsieur de Richet. You are playing a dangerous game. Please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate anyone poking around in his business.
Let me guess. Lord Mortimer.
Oh, you are way off the mark. There's nothing more for us to say.
I was gonna say
Goodbye.
the King of Prussia, but it seems so obvious.
There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest. Monsieur Bonaparte, may I speak with you a moment?
May we?
Does expression "go beyond the nightmare" mean anything to you at all?
Well, metaphorically, yes. It sums up the career of a soldier quite well. I doubt that is what you want to hear, though.
Indeed. That's surely not what I'm looking for.
Well, monsieur, if you are looking for a phrase book, Lord Mortimer must surely have one, given the number of books he has. You ought to check in the library of the tower. You never know.
There you go.
What do you think of Duke Godoy?
Well, I'd rather not express any opinion of him.
Why's that?
His reputation is enough for me.
Meaning?
This gentleman enjoys people talking about him for too many reasons. His undeserved titles, more than 10 in just 4 years, and each one more prestigious than the one before.
You don't think he deserves them?
If I had seen him on the battlefield, there might be some doubt. But that is not the case. The Queen would rather not risk losing him, so she consoles him with awards and titles.
So you don't have a very positive opinion?
His coveting French Catalonia does not encourage me to have one.
I understand your point of view. Well, I'll be leaving you now. Shall we meet up again later?
Wait, monsieur. Any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not, no.
I hope to speak with her about my deal before I leave. Let me know if you find her. À plus tard, monsieur.
Just call me. Okay, so the tower with all the boats is where we go next. Georgie, what have you got to say?
Go beyond the nightmare. Does this line remind you of anything in particular?
You've caught me unaware here, Louis. Let me think about it a second. No, nothing comes to mind. Sorry, Louis, but I am unable to help you.
Get out.
Mr. President, what do you think about your counterpart, Duke Manuel?
I'm very surprised he was able to accept Lord Mortimer's invitation, given the political situation in Spain.
What do you mean?
The situation is ready to explode with France over Catalonia.
Well, the Duke must have a darn good reason to be absent and come here, mustn't he?
When Lord Mortimer invites you, Louis, you come. It's always in your best interest.
I wouldn't say that personally, but... Mr. President, can you tell me a little more about the coming conference?
Of course, Louis. That's why we're here. Lord Mortimer or Sir Gregory regularly organize meetings like this to put forward major projects.
What do you mean by major projects?
I'd prefer to let Lord Mortimer explain that to you, Louis. Let's say he brings together influential people in order to consider possible actions to undertake to guarantee the future of nations.
Do you know the theme of the conference?
Not in the slightest. None of the guests know the theme before arriving. But you'll see, everything will turn out fine. Don't worry.
Theme is diversity.
Well, thank you for your time.
Don't mention it, my young friend. Regarding your question on the nightmare, don't hesitate to question the others about it. Maybe one of them knows more than I do.
That's a good idea. Thank you once again. I'll see you in a little bit.
Zeus, what do you know about a nightmare? What are these butterflies in? Preacher man, you must know.
Ah, Louis. Just the man. Good Lord. How did the king come to be executed? I would think that the order would have intervened.
Your Eminence, I'm sorry for King Louis.
The point is locked.
But he did everything to put himself there.
Louis, how can you say such a thing? Even if France rejects the church, you don't go and behead a person of high status. They always serve our cause better alive than dead. Politically, it's absurd.
I invite you to speak about it with my mother as soon as she reappears.
Is there any news of her?
Well, I hope it won't be long before I find her, Your Eminence.
Now you wanted to speak to me.
If I say the nightmare to you, does it make you think of anything?
Your question is strange, my son. Difficult to say. Could you at least tell me a little more about the context?
Think of a place and tell me the first thing that comes into your mind when I say the nightmare.
Let me think. I'd say Lord Mortimer's favorite painting on the wall behind his desk. You know, that painting caused quite a stir when it was exhibited. It is titled The Nightmare, and it shows a woman lying down with a creature sitting on her. And in the background, a horse. I don't know if it will be of any help, but I can't think of anything else.
You never know. Thank you for that, though, Your Eminence. I gotta go and see it just in case, though. Thank you for everything, Your Eminence. I shan't take up any more of your time.
You are welcome, my son. I will be seeing you, Louis.
What do you want, Louis?
What do you think of our last guest?
Well, I never thought I would get the chance to meet that Hispanic Casanova in the flesh. His reputation is well known. The gentleman collects lovers, including, would you believe it, the Queen of Spain.
The Queen of Spain likes to indiscreetly say, the King, Godoy, and myself make up the Holy Trinity. The people have appropriately renamed them the Goat, the Ruffian, and the Whore.
I didn't see you being a mudslinger in your idle boys, I must say. You're leaving me?
Unfortunately, I have things to do. Thank you again, madam. So, what did my mother mean by going beyond the nightmare? The Book of the Mortimer family. that's what you generally feed birds.
Take one, it won't eat it though.
Might come in handy.
Ah, there it is.
The Nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. Ah, this must be what my mother was talking about. Now just need to find out what she meant by go beyond. Hey, looks like it's mounted on rails on each side. It should lift up, I think. There must be a mechanism somewhere.
Oh, I want to read the paper first.
Aha, I found it. Oh, what on earth is this? A ring lock now? Great, that's all I needed.
Mr. Ergido Palladium, I'm writing with regard to the dates of the paintings that I sent you for your temporary exhibition. So they were part of my favorite collection and are dated. It's Freemason's calendar used at the time. So you will have guessed. You must remember to subtract 4,000 years if you don't hope to be surprised at the dating of the works. No need to remind you that Freemasonry begins in March, not January. About the lung in his painting, I took the liberty to have the spear touched up so it looked better corresponding to the actual spear. I cannot urge you strongly enough to do the same for yours. Yours sincerely, Lord William Alexander Mortimer, Marquis de Westfordshire. That's for year 79. Food, candles, cake, wood, stained glass, much range, fabric, wine, water, powder. Reduce wood consumption next year. Okay.
Now, what have we got here? Well, it looks like a model of a lock. It's as if Mortimer is fond of complicating things sometimes. Well, I hope I never have to try and unlock it.
No, that'd be terrible. I'm sure that won't happen.
A myna bird. Well, Waldo, is your master good? Tell me the door code. Here I am talking to a bird. Shame on me. Sarah de Riche? Waldo, you know Sarah? What? Repeat that, Waldo. Sarah? What about Sarah? Good God, what's been happening here?
I'm scared.
Many families kept documents of their history, but I've never seen anything like this before. Such regularity in writing them up through the generations for such a long time. First time I've ever seen that. Mortimer gives considerable importance to his origins. That's undeniable. Well, well. History of the Mortimer lineage. Looks like his ancestors have always sought to improve society and have had an open attitude towards the arts. This seems to be the list of grants and sponsorships given by the Mortimer family. In 1489, the Mortimer family participates in the purchase of the Caravel Santa Clara from Juan Niño, shipowner on behalf of Don Luis de la Cerda. The vessel will be renamed La Niña. In 1567, the Mortimer family financed the brickworks in Qinhongdao in China, fitted out with 51 furnaces 3.5 meters high, in guise of a protocol gift for Long King, the emperor of the Ming Dynasty. I bet that brickworks helped maintain the Great Wall. In 1645, the Mortimer family allocated a pension to be passed down the generations to the Nérac family from Bordeaux, shipowners and refiners from father to son, a family known for their expeditions to Africa and America. From 1235 to 1280, the Mortimer family granted an annual pension to Albert the Great, Archbishop of Regensburg, in order to fund his research in the writing of De Mirabilibus Munci, books about the wonders of the world. In 1513, the Mortimers financed the expedition of Ponce de Leon to the New World. That was the expedition that resulted in the discovery of Florida, in fact. In 1635, the Mortimer family sponsored the Academy of Mersenne for 30 years in Paris for works in the sciences and in philosophy. That was generous, but not entirely selfless, when you think about Blaise Pascal, who developed the first calculating machine at the same time. In 1550, the Mortimer family financed half of the construction of St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow by way of protocol gift for Ivan IV Vasilievich, one of the most beautiful religious buildings ever built. In 1772, Lord Mortimer made a donation of £112,000 to the attention of Achille Basmarin, major shipowner of Bordeaux, for the construction of a ship, the Clary. From 1685 to 1720, the Mortimer family allocated an annual pension to Denis Papin for his brilliant works in pneumatics and hydraulics. That reminds me of spectacular experiments such as his first submarine, which didn't end all that well if I remember correctly. Oh, the family tree. The first William Alexander Mortimer. He was born in 1131 and distinguished himself during the Third Crusade, during which he rubbed shoulders with Richard the Lionheart. He showed outstanding bravery during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre. He died in 1211 in the country of Westford at the age of 80. What longevity! Nice. Nothing is mentioned about his wife. The direct descendant of William Alexander Mortimer I was born in 1195 on his father's return from the crusade. Only son, more discreet than his father, it states that he was widely traveled. He produced only one descendant, named William Michael Mortimer. He died in 1275. There's no chapter dedicated to his mother. Lord William Alexander Mortimer, lover of the arts and the sciences, he took up politics at an early age. After rapidly becoming influential, he decides to retire from public life in order to organize conferences reserved for the elite with the aim of finding answers to world problems. Blah, blah, blah. He's also an only son, and the book doesn't mention any known descendant. All right. For one, the women of the lineage are not mentioned at all. What a cavalier attitude. Right. Let's see. Who else is there? All the descendants are called William Mortimer. There have been only male descendants. All of them only sons. Strange. It was uncommon to have only one child in those days, let alone all only sons. How was that possible? It really makes you wonder if all those sons really are official descendants. I'm smelling something shady here. Only son, a descendant with a singular name. He also took a wife and had only one child, named William again. Another at random. William Mortimer again. Only son, him too. Born in 1573 and died in 1665. The Mortimers lived to a ripe old age, that's for sure. Discreet again. The summary states that he was an excellent merchant, and that towards the end of his life, he entered politics? Let's see. All Mortimer's ancestors are called William something Mortimer. That happens a lot in noble families, but here it's systematic. Not a single generation ever breaks the custom. Looks like this family is very attached to their principles. Open sesame. Let's see what you've been hiding, Lord Mortimer.
Dear Lord Mortimer, I'm writing to ask you to persuade President Washington not to sign the Fugitive Slave Act as it stands. We must absolutely legislate on a national level and not allow every state to choose their policy regarding slaves. It was initially intended to resolve a conflict between Pennsylvania and Virginia. By signing it, we risk legislating the hunting of blacks. More and more men of little faith are becoming slave hunters, and unable to find any slaves on the run, they kidnap the first they come across, which they pass off as the wanted runaway. The situation tends to quickly generate. Thank you in advance, your friend John Adams. Say hello to old daughter Elizabeth. Yeah, I'll do that. My lord, have this letter reach you? My hours are numbered. My printing house has been confiscated. I'm in prison in the fortress of Schlüsselburg. If by chance you could intervene on my favor, I'd be eternally in your debt. Does Tsarina Catherine Shaw belong in banning all Golden Order lodges from her territory? Our horizon has become considerably darker. In the hope that you help me, your friend, Nikolai Novikov.
Weakness of the Human Psyche by Guillaume Trimore. He says, it is possible to drill an idea into someone by constant daily repetition until the mind gives in. And goes on, there are hundreds of good ways to live life, but you only need one to convince the masses that it's the only one possible. The author isn't letting any ethical principles get in his way, is he?
Machiavellian. The gift has been delivered to Mir Shah Durrani, king of Afghanistan, of Punjab, of Sindh, of Mashhad, of Kashmir, should not retain his title much longer. His son Zaman will succeed him as planned. We will then be able to resume negotiations. Okay.
This shows the forces present in America. Some of those forces are pushing toward the west. On it, Mortimer's placed little feather symbols at different points, toward which the Spanish are headed. Could he be fueling Indian resistance to slow down Spain?
Beamed. My dearest Mortimer, as a friend of China, rest assured that you'll be rewarded for your information. You need not worry about any scheming against us from Great Britain. Their representative, Mr. McCartney, will leave no hope of arrangements involving us, your friend, Queen Long, Emperor of the Qing Dynasty.
It shows the forces present in Europe. It's clear that France is surrounded by her enemies. However, a large number has been underlined in bold. 26 million. I know what it is. It's an estimation of my country's population. All our neighbors have far fewer inhabitants. It's locked.
This India.
A fine-looking map of the Orient, indeed.
Sir, your plans to intervene in Belgium are going to go ahead as set down and to occupy the Prussian army. Your delivery of cannons to Valmy has ensured our victory. As agreed, I've notified the King of Prussia of the invasion plans of Castine and the Army of the North. I will keep the Austrians out of Belgium. I will quickly return to Paris as I sense the fate of our King Louis is about to be decided dishonorably, and it is impossible for me not to intervene. Should you have any missives to give me, I invite you to go by, as per usual, our friend, Monsieur Peru. Sincerely yours, Charles-Francois de Mers, General of the Army of the North. Mortimer, I regret to inform you that it will be soon impossible to ignore pressure from the Russians. The Tsarina Catherine has every intention of supporting Count of Provence and will recognize him as the regent of Kingdom of France. Once King Louis has disappeared from the political stage, I'm sorry to announce bad news, but expect dark times ahead. Your friend, Elfried Bauer.
This is my mother's writing. I've picked up her trail. What is she up to? Obviously, she wants to lure Mortimer somewhere, but where? The only clue she's left for Mortimer is this stone sword. It must be intentional. It looks like a decorative sword, like from a statue, for example. And judging by the state of it, I'm guessing it's been left outside for a long time. I have absolutely got to find out where it came from.
Le mot d'arthur. Dearest friend, our plans are going ahead wonderfully well. The Coinage Act has been voted. Your project of founding the very first Bank of America should not be delayed, and will probably be called Union Bank. As for the construction of the White House, it is still die to begin in October. It's a typo. I'll accept no delays. You can trust me on this. Hope to see you soon. Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State.
Am I seeing things, or is that an actual von Leeuwenhoek microscope? Incredible. Mortimer really is at the cutting edge of science. Even at the Order, it took us ages to get one of those.
How do you know that?
Something strange about this table. The little surgeon's perfect collection. Preservation using formaldehyde. Just as disgusting as ever. Looks like obsidian or onyx. It must weigh a ton. These are feathers. Pigeon, probably. A skeleton by the name of Gustav, if the plaque on the plinth is anything to go by. Mortimer's given a name to his anatomy skeleton. That's morbid.
Maybe that's his real name. Dear Lord Mortimer has agreed I've changed your old lock for one of my invention, drawing inspiration from your friend, Mr. Guillotine. Here's a model of your new lock, if you appreciate my prototype. It is difficult to imagine how it all fits together, but it will be located in the middle of the present door. The aim being to alter nothing of the door's functionality, but to add a bit of space, depending on the lineup of wheels. The aforementioned lock will open, or will punish the snooper whose face was not strong enough. I call my invention the judgment of faith, because if a snooper is unable to resist opening it, they will be punished. I appreciate the irony of the situation. Gustave Montret, Master Architect. They kill Gustave, and that's the skeleton, isn't it? Dear friend, who was the most admirable of all the Olympians. None other than the king of gods, of course. Unlike his father Kronos, he learned to make equal use of strength and wisdom. Instead of fearing the power of his children and brothers, he accepted to share the world with them. Men fear his thunder and praise his justice. He reigns, but doesn't dominate. Zeus nailed like every woman he could. He wasn't really that wise, was he?
That must be for writing the homing pigeon messages. An iron mask. I wonder who it's for.
The Man in the Iron Mask? Was that written yet? I think it was set during the French Revolution, so probably wasn't. Is that all it? Have we looked at everything? Oh, we got a fire key!
A chest with a motif representing the alchemical symbol of fire.
I actually thought I had that for a second.
A table of alchemical elements. So, Lord Mortimer also studies alchemy? It seems like he's interested in everything.
See, back in the day, you didn't have things like pornography to distract you, so you could really advance.
3 rusty old nails. They're about 20 centimeters long.
9-inch nails?
Some goat skulls, chicken legs. Now we all know what that's for. I'm a little surprised at Mortimer. I didn't seem as the type to be organizing little pagan parties, invoking occult powers, and dancing naked under the full moon. I'm more used to seeing cheap charms like this sold by charlatans in Pré Saint-Gervais. Look, a pack of tarot cards. Has he been reading the cards? Mortimer? That would surprise me.
Mortimer, the tigers dying on your demand have attacked Valancourt and personally cut the throats of as many Englishmen as possible. Though without help from the French, I cannot hold them off much longer. My forces are rapidly diminishing in spite of your rockets. Help us! Tipu Sahib, Sultan of Mysore.
Weakness of the Human Psyche by Guillaume Trimor. He says, it is possible to drill an idea into someone by constant daily repetition until the mind gives in. And goes on, there are hundreds of good ways to live life, but you only need one to convince the masses that it's the only one possible. The author isn't letting any ethical principles get in his way, is he? Looks like a campaign is being prepared in France in favor of Italy. Could Mortimer have decided to finance a war?
Oh, how exactly does the guy get out of here?
Something strange about this table. What kind of experiments does Mortimer carry out here? It's a dissection table. So Mortimer does autopsies here on his desert island. But who is he doing autopsies on then? Oh shit. How am I gonna get out of here now?
It was 1191, so since we're looking at it the other way, just go backwards.
Mechanism is the one on the other side.
Oh shit, that's locked
Those are
too.
stuck. Shit! I'm cornered like a rat.
Good thing I have lots of royal jelly to eat so I don't starve.
Someone's coming. Please don't let it be Mortimer. Who is it?
Deliberately avoiding me. 4 years ago, I was his favorite. But nowadays, I have to ask for an audience with his lordship.
Damn it! It's Peru. I don't know if I should, but
Well, that's it. I've had enough of being humiliated.
I'm wasting my time here.
After everything I've done on his behalf, he dares treat me like a lackey? I've bled the Parisian elite for the sake of his whims, and what have I got to show for it? Doesn't even have the courtesy to give me 5 minutes of his time. I wanted to put my mind at ease. Well, that's done. I know what I've got to do now.
I must find my mother. So much for discretion.
Monsieur Peru, it's me, Monsieur de
What the
Riche.
devil is going
I
on?
need your help.
Where are you, de Riche?
Behind the painting. Open it, please. I've shut myself in. There's a pedal under Lord Mortimer's desk. Can you see it?
There's no... Hang on. Yes.
Good. Now press it.
Yeah. Done.
You should see something resembling a frame with numbers. Yes? You have to turn them to set the combination. 1191.
Well. Poking our nose into Mortimer's little secrets, are we? You do surprise me.
It's not what you're thinking. I'll explain everything.
No, you will not, sir. It has nothing to do with me, and by the way, I never even saw you. So, I'll be on my way now.
Thanks again. I'm indebted to you. I won't forget this.
Yeah. Goodbye.
I've wasted enough time. I better get moving if I want to find my mother.
I didn't finger him for the murder, so actually he owed me one. No collectibles up here either. How embarrassing that was.
This note is about a meeting with Lord Mortimer. There's no doubt about it. All right, I need to find out where the sword that came with it's from in order to find Mother.
You're joking, I hope. Don't tell me you've done that.
Really? How do you expect me to guess?
Oh, for God's sake, just ask them. We must absolutely inform Sir Gregory. How long has he been trying to collect all the spears?
I must have brought him the first one 20-odd years ago.
Do you know if he has managed to get the original?
Well, in any case, he's got all the ones we had at the Vatican. He made me replace them with copies. But I don't understand your reaction. I'm sure it is nothing serious.
Aha. I can see very well you do not understand. You have done nothing less than sign our death warrants, and still you don't understand.
Someone is listening.
What?
Who's
Monsieur
looking at
de
the painting?
Riche, why not join us rather than find yourself eavesdropping?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Of course you didn't. So, my son, what can we do for you?
Oh, Lord.
I was wondering if you might have seen an object like this here at the manor.
What are you playing at, de Riche?
I'm afraid I can't help you, my son. Ask someone who knows the manor better than I do. One of the servants, for example. One of them is bound to help you.
Thank you for your advice, Your Eminence. Nothing in particular. I'll leave you alone.
See? Just want to ask about the sword.
Do you think he heard us?
Don't worry.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
Could you tell me where this sword comes from, please?
Certainly, sir. How did such a sword come into sir's hands?
None of your business.
My good man, I'm afraid you're overstepping your role. You're the one who's supposed to be giving the answers, not me.
Naturally. I hope that sir will forgive me. If I were sir, I would look in the garden. This sword looks like it's from the garden statues.
And how can I get into the garden?
There are two ways, sir. The first way to get to the garden is by the hall, between the conference room and the portrait gallery. The second way is directly through the portrait gallery. Sir would just have to go out by the French windows.
Thank you, my good man.
French doors, stupid. Don't go to the window. Crazy. Le porte français.
The sword probably came from this garden, but what could it have been used for? Golden elixir. Ariadne. In Greek mythology, she helped Theseus get through the labyrinth. Looks like there's a crack in the region of the heart. Let's see.
The word shaped?
And what's going to happen if I've got it wrong?
That's not what I expected, but... Why would she have a sword in her? Theseus didn't kill her after that, did he? That'd be a dick move, wouldn't it? Okay, so it looks like Theseus is the only one with it in his heart, so...
Minos. The crack is in the region of the heart.
Booyah. Alright, folks, well, looks like we made our way through the maze and we cracked the code on the door there. It's been a very productive day. I'll say goodbye for now and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.